Hello everyone, my name is Kelsey Seitz, and for my field interview, I interviewed Heather Collins. She is a media specialist for Collins Media, which is a company based in Little Rock, Arkansas. One of her biggest clients in Little Rock is actually the Capitol Hotel, but she also does work for various radio stations and TV studios around that area. Aside from working in Little Rock, she's also branched outside of the Little Rock area and has done numerous things with other colleges and campuses. She's actually worked for the Razorbacks and even done some local things for our campus, Arkansas Tech. Now, when I asked her, what does a media specialist do? She kind of laughed and said, it's more of a complex thing. When someone says media specialist, you think it's pretty generic, a pretty bland title. Well, actually, a media specialist is combined of many different things. Aside from just doing general media and working with radio stations, TV stations, Facebook, social media things, she's also the cinematographer, recording things, going on trips, the editor, the photographer, and actually is in charge of all social media sites. Aside from just using Facebook, she's familiar with Tumblr, Twitter, even LinkedIn. She's very well-rounded, and that's one of the reasons I really wanted to get with her, to interview her. What really intrigued me about Heather was that she actually started in college. She graduated from the University of Arkansas with a degree in communications. While she was working on campus, she actually got her first career offer traveling her senior year of college. And I thought that was really cool. So I thought it would be a really good take to get her point of perspective for someone who's about to graduate. So we sat down and we chatted a little bit about what to expect in the future for me. One of the biggest advice she gave me that actually came from a surprise was she emphasized how actually hard it is, even to this day, to be taken serious as a female. She said a lot of times when people come around, they still expect a man to be in charge of social media, public relations, marketing, basically because the man is responsible for carrying the camera, working the camera. And that's not the case. Heather takes on a great portion of everything that is to be done and is the main cinematographer and photographer, but is still taken not as serious because she's a woman. Now that's a challenge that has definitely gotten easier as time's progressed, which is helpful for us. But I did think that was interesting that she thought it was still enough of a concern to bring it up to me. Another interesting trend that she's seen is just how social media has changed in just the years. When she was going through college, she never had to worry about Facebook or anything like that. She basically worked just with the computers, the television, and the radio stations. So to go from being familiar how to work with all the stations to having to learn things, public relations is actually an ever-changing career. And that's something I definitely wanted to be, warned about. And that was one thing we kind of emphasized on was how to promote yourself from within and be able to be familiar with the trends that are coming and how everything will eventually repeat itself. She says, it's pretty funny how cameras and equipment that she worked with in the 80s are coming back now, and she's seeing a trend in them again. Another thing we talked about was what the typical person she would be if she were going to hire someone, what qualities and characteristics she would expect out of somebody. And I was kind of surprised with some of her answers. She told me that she would actually rather choose somebody who had experience, worked in the field, than someone with a college degree. This right here tells me that public relations is something that you're going to have to work on. It is something that you're going to have to do a lot of outside work, a lot of outside research to be able to be fluent in it. She said that one of the best ways you can do is, you're not going to have a lot of experience when you're 20-something years old, just graduating college. But she says if you can be involved in student activities, that's something that looks really good on a resume. So that got to me thinking, what kind of activities are offered around campus that could eventually help somebody get a degree and get their foot in the door. She also emphasized that public relations and social media, their emphasis is just communication and who you know, to make the best connections while you can, and to make a difference in someone's life so that they'll remember you later on. And I thought that was really cool. Overall, I think the interview went very well. I was able to take some very descriptive notes, and I was able to learn so much more about what this field has for me in the future. I would highly recommend anybody who wanted to pursue a career in public relations to be able to look her up on Facebook, find her page, look at her photography, look at her interviews, look at her videos, and see the trend that it goes, and I think that all of us can have something to learn from her.